God.
All right. So we should have it going. Does anyone want to check it? Adrian, would you want to check it quickly?
I don't have Streamlink anymore. Let me
Oh,
check,
shit.
actually. Hold on.
Mm. Remember, no slurs, guys.
That's like the
Huh.
thing you have to worry about.
Yeah, Vito, you're one to talk.
It's like me one to talk.
Thank God Meta's not in the room.
That's true. Then he'd be the final boss.
All right, I am checking. Stand by. Give me a count, Vito.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chris, count.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Good boy.
We are Gucci Ducci.
Does it sound like anyone's underwater? Because I know we've had that problem with previous streams.
I don't think so.
Adrian's got to fix his mic.
What?
My mic likes to just die sometimes.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
During dramatic moments, they just have to look at me and be like, yeah, your mic's gone. I'm like, all right, let's restart the roleplay.
So, do you want to kick us off tonight, Adrian, or should I?
I'll send it. I'll do it.
Send it.
All right, here we go. Pretend like nothing's happened before the stream. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome back to another Tavern Talk. It's Adrian here. I play Raphael in Fleeing Sparrows. And we have Vito here, our DM. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Vito. I'll be the, DM for both campaigns. And Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm Gokinjo in the Kurai campaign. Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot that he's a Karai.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't wave.
Guy's like my mortal enemy, I guess.
Yeah, we're two ops on the same call today.
All right. So, yeah. Adrian, would you like to introduce the topic for tonight, or you want me to go for it?
You go for it.
All right. So tonight's topic is refractions and reflections. Okay, the way that a setting can be run from two completely different perspectives and produce two completely different campaigns and experiences. We have both, you have both run Rubia, and I have run Rubia both ways for you guys, from the perspective of the Kurai and the perspective of people who are somewhat native to Rubia. So, going off that, what I want to ask each of you is, how do you think, or what vibes do you get when you think of Rubia? Chris?
It's kind of like we get sent on like search and destroy missions like all the time. It's pretty fun overall, but like we don't really get to know too much of like the lore of the land. We kind of have to like figure it out. Um, we get to know a lot more about kind of Yumegawa. Um, but like Rubia is just kind of like a land of mystery and danger, and we have to like come up with ways to, spread the glory of the Golden Lion and all that. Yeah.
I think a good place to start is for both of us to kind of introduce our characters to each other, just so we both have an idea of where we're playing on these sides. So obviously we're starting in Rubia. I want to hear about your character, Chris.
Well, my character is Gokinjo. He is from Yumegawa. He's part of like a lineage of what's the classic mutilators?
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically he kind of sees like conquering Rubian settlements as like work. And kind of a big part of the lore is that he just doesn't see anybody who isn't Kurai or Yumegawan as people.
Type shit.
Um, so it's more like he's like pretty polite and kind to like, elderly children. Just everybody. He's like just a nice guy, and then he goes to work and it's just extermination. You know what I mean? That's kind of more the vibe. He's also very patriotic.
Awesome. So I play Rafael Marquez. I am one of the uh, last descendants of the Marquez family, which is one of the big ones in Rubia. We've been fighting the Karai since they came to Rubia, and we've been living in the mountains. And ever since the initial invasion, it's just kind of been a back and forth. I spent a lot of time in Yumagawa, where I met my uh, party members there. I had Alcoy and Jude. Alcoy now, who is no longer with us in the campaign, but so it's a two-man team with me and Jude. We're back in Rubia and doing some investigations as to where certain magical artifacts are that could change the tide of everything. And the way I see the Karai is not human at all, but certain things have changed due to my time in Yumagawa and in the spirit realm due to some unfortunate familial relation. And yeah, so in all, I have had generally a negative connotations regarding the Karai, but things have started to change. But now that I'm back in Rubia, they're starting to flip back towards their invaders. So we can see the two sides of the coin here.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, overall, like Rubians have had pretty negative connotations for us. We kind of are. The propaganda is that they're very uncivilized, that they need like the glory of our civilization to give them like revelation or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that kind of kind of brainwashing. It's clear like the players, of course, that this is like brainwashing and stuff, but as characters, we're very much set in you know, um, kind of trying our best to be obtuse while opening ourselves up to kind of maybe more revealing experiences. For example, we had a Karai who is of Rubian descent, which was interesting for us.
Who?
Um, it's a secret. I'm not sure. How much can I tell them?
You could tell him everything. I mean, maybe
Sure.
not the outcomes of your campaign, but most of it.
Sure. Yeah. Because
Wait,
our
is his
campaign's
campaign ended?
over.
His
Oh yeah,
campaign,
For the
wow.
the first one is we're gonna reboot the Karai campaign just because we had a player leave, and also I think there would be a more
their stories are done.
their stories are done.
Well,
Exactly. Well, not yet entirely,
for the
but
most part.
we'll have to wait for future sessions to see that. But this is set back when Rafi was about
No,
13.
ours is a prequel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a prequel. That's
Yeah.
kind of sick.
So actually, one of the players, I got permission. You know the Flame Bearer, right?
Yeah.
That's the player that left.
Ah. Huh.
Yeah. Uh, but basically we got to experience a lot of like horror elements. Um, like the Mononangal chasing us was a pain. Like it was kind of draining our resources. We were trying to like, get to the land of witches to I don't remember the exact objective. It got kind of lost in trying to survive. Then there was just like we had to see like, visions of like the bad stuff we did, and just overall just oof, oh boy. Whole crazy part of that session. Oh, there was also the Teak Belong. That was terrifying.
This is so funny to hear because it's like I'm hearing terms that I know, but then it's like an entirely different campaign. This is pretty
Ooh,
sick.
who's that guy? That guy what do you call Hoten?
Hoten? Which one's Hoten? Hold
The
on, wait, because now I have to
Executioner.
pull up my documents. Oh yeah, the executioner.
Dude, he saved our asses so many times, bro. Every time we see him, we feel so much hope in our hearts, bro. He one-shot the Tikbalong as we were gonna get. Dude, this man. Whew. He's so
This is
nice.
great. This is crazy. This is crazy.
He's just like,
Same guy
Oh,
that
This
hit
man.
guy's like
Convoy with a
number
fucking
2 on my
tree.
hit list.
he
Yeah,
he
this is like number 2
he
on my...
trained my character up. I got to like, I don't know, it's pretty dope.
Oh my god. Wow. Okay, so that's a little wild. I don't even know what to say because this is like really cool. All right, so I want to ask this. I'll ask this question. Did you guys feel like villains in a story, or at least you were on the wrong side of something, or did you? What's your kind of perspective on the whole missions? You know, the whole storyline that you guys are a part of.
we there is like no doubt that we're the bad guys. Like
Okay, all right,
there is like no doubt at all. We have canonically murdered innocent people like for the sake of
okay.
spreading like
And
this
a baby.
kind of ideology. The baby.
There was a child. Just-
Yeah, we didn't really kill it more than we left it in a fire. But
It's not dead. Just just burning in a house.
it could be alive.
Could be alive.
Anyways, there there's that. But like definitely our characters think they're the good guys. We played it like that.
right.
Um,
Okay.
but I mean, obviously we'd be terrible people if we thought we were the good guys on anyway. Like,
Okay.
no way. No way. This is just pure imperialism. Um, but in a way, our characters are also kind of victims to the what do you call like
The system.
propaganda or
Well, not only that, but my question is it the actions that you're doing that you view yourselves as villain, or the people you associate with?
oh, definitely the actions, dude. We've done things that like I mean, just the village infiltration where we burnt all those houses, and like, entrapped all those people and then made sure that their hunters couldn't come back and then destroyed their boats. Um, like that one was just pretty messed up, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
exactly.
Who would have thought? If anybody was like on the other side of that conflict, they would think you're an animal, right?
Well, funny enough,
Okay.
we called them Ruby and Dens. We
Have
don't even see them as
you ever played Warframe? Because that's what I thought of when you
Yeah.
said dens. All I'm thinking of is the freaking extermination missions where you have to reach a quota of a certain amount of enemies you kill, and then you can extract. It's like you gotta just keep
This is
yeah,
extracting.
wild.
Oh yeah.
the but it's like, yeah, there's definitely no opportunity to learn otherwise because our inquisitors are pretty strict, I think.
Yeah. All right. So let's start steering towards like common interaction. So with different NPCs that we've interacted with, or different
Sure.
clans, or different parts of the Rubian environment and society. Like we'll start with the clans. How many of the Rubian families do you know of? Like the Siakoi, the Haramos. Do you know of
I
any of
think
those?
so. I don't think we really know them by name exactly more than we know them by features.
Okay. So what are some of the features?
So I think we have a former Sequoia that works for us. Is that true, Vito?
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, the Fisher guy or something. It's pretty
That
cool.
would be the fisherman and or the spear fisher and his wife. She is a former
Mhm.
Siakoi. He is fully Karai, and he's an inquisitor.
He's really correct.
He's fully Karai.
Okay.
Isn't it what?
What?
He's an inquisitor?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's actually.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's
Speaking of, yeah.
pretty chill guy. He has like a rack of ores, and they have like little etches for every Rubian he's killed. We thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. I don't know why. This is hilarious to me. It's just it's like another day in the office, but for me, it was the most traumatic experience for my character ever. Right, the whole reason why I was in Yumagawa was to kind of number one was to find the rest of a scouting group from my family that went in, but also the grand goal of liberating Rubia. So for me, a lot of the lore that I'm learning about for the Karai was mainly in Yumagawa, so the homeland of the Karai, where I kind of got familiar with their structure, the different like the different sections and locations within Yumagawa themselves. So I'm not too versed in how the Karai worked um, in Rubia, just because I was gone for most of it, and in my character's lore, I was a kid, and I was training to become a warrior, so a forest breather. And but when I graduated from that kind of school, I went to Yumagawa, so I didn't really see too much rebel fighting, direct contact with the Karai, except for some of the Inquisitors. So it's kind of interesting to see how you guys are operating as grunts, so to speak. You know, because I've killed dozens of you guys, and you've killed dozens of
From
us.
from what you know from the lore, from what we know from the lore, Yumegawa operates very different to the Karai in like Rubia. Um, because we're kind of specialized task force. Like we are taught a very different set of morals, is from what I understand. Our weapons are different. Um, like
You guys are built to kill us. That's like the
pretty
whole
much,
point.
like pretty much born and bred. Like basically, my character's origin is that like he just comes from a whole like clan dedicated to brutalization and like that like extermination basically. That's how you gain merit.
Mm,
And that's just kind of
yeah,
seen as the right thing to do, you know? Destroy Rubian packs, you know what I mean?
yeah, packs, right?
Packs and
Herds,
dens.
even.
Herds, yep.
Herds is a great term.
Sometimes in the
Nests.
most terrifying weather, there are even swarms.
Oh.
There's a lot of those little rats running around, hordes even, swarms. You know.
Just
Rats has
throws a
been a
sword
term
towards
used
a baby. Oh my god, he's got a weapon!
All right, I
Well,
want.
we have been taught that the babies can be zombies, so
He ran into a Tianak with a ball bomb.
Oh yeah, the
hmm
Tianak. Yeah,
That's actually
it's
how
yeah,
cool
he
also
set the
to see
tone for
the
Rubia. Hmm?
we call them
oh
baseballs.
base.
Kanabo, Kanabo user.
Kind
Um,
What were you gonna
Me
say?
one great weapons. It's cool to see like the mythology actually being used because we run into it a lot, and I'm familiar with it because it is based directly off of Filipino creatures of myth. So seeing the other side of a big part of what was pushed when me and Vito were building Rubia is during the initial Karai invasion, it was an entirely alien world. That's what we wanted to portray, where all these creatures are strange and they're horrific because Yumagawan lore is, or Yumagawan mythology is really, I would guess it's like very kind of Chinese and mainland Asia, where it's kind of grand mystique. It's kind of
honestly, I kind
beautiful in
of
a way.
thought Yumegawans were more kind of Japanese based,
Oh yeah,
kind of
Japanese. That's
inspired.
what I'm trying to
There
say.
you go.
It's like a mixture of that, where it's kind of almost first world Asia, where not really first world because it's still ancient, but that broader sense of more developed mythology. Of there's more gods, there's more established creatures. These things are more like monsters, and it's really interesting to see that in a combat sense because we've been running into them in our campaign and I'm familiar with how to fight them. Were you briefed and like taught on how to fight these creatures?
Not exactly. We ran into a sticky horse and it it was gonna kill us. It was pretty
A
scary.
sticky horse? Oh, the sticky.
Like
Oh,
the
I know what you're
tikbalak.
talking about. Yeah, the tickbalon,
Yeah,
where
yeah. No, that
they just
is
kind of stick.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I attacked this thing out of bow, and it's just stuck. So,
Yeah, we had a run in
like
with one of those.
Yeah.
or at
There's
multiple
also the
actually.
laughing guys, the Boongus Nieces.
Bungus, yeah. Those are
Yeah.
no joke.
Oh yeah.
So
Honestly, we
were
could
you
deal with those
engaging with these
pretty
guys a
alright
lot?
though.
You guys were
We
engaging with them a
engaged with
lot?
them pretty frequently. I feel like we engaged with the Mythos more than we did the Rubians. Because the Rubians died
Hmm.
really fast, and the Mythos were a lot harder to beat.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
The We did run into the Juramos, I think, right? Was that the barbarian guy who
Ramos,
whooped
yeah.
my
Yes.
ass? Yeah, we got ambushed, like in like a what do you call that? Like a ravine?
Canyon. Yeah.
Canyon. Yeah. And one of our guys got tossed off the top of the ravine, like hit his back, hit his like the like that fucking Family Guy clip where
Yeah, the tumble.
he got tumbled off the thing. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Oh, I used was it a Karai corpse or a Rubian corpse to get
Rubian.
up the hill, using it as like cover, like to
Rubian.
climb up the mountain. It was a whole encounter. It was pretty good, pretty well structured. We definitely felt like we were at a disadvantage, so it was good.
Yeah.
In terms of kit, so like character sheet wise,
Hmm.
how was your character built for fighting, and what types of weapons do they use? Do they have any special abilities, stuff like that?
Uh, I went for a more berserker oriented build. So basically just a bunch of stuff in the red, like extra attack, great weapon fighting, just fully spec'd into that aspect and did very minimal into like the skill aspect.
Do you guys use
Um,
magic of any kind, or is
for
it
the
more skill
most
based?
part, no. Like I don't really think we use magic canonically.
No, not really.
Could you correct me on that, Vito? Because we had one character who was spec'd into it a bit.
He spec'd into it, but he reflavored it. It was like fire bombs and stuff that he had on his person, so they didn't really
Okay,
Yeah,
that
use
yeah,
makes more
magic.
we're
sense.
not really magical.
No.
Um, there's we have like weapons that are built for like breaking the land, like serrated katanas and like really spiky kanabos.
Yeah.
That's cool. So a big part of again the lore that we built was since the Karai are kind of foreign to the land of Rubia, they adapted their kit around molding the land to their use. So they would use stuff to. Ooh, you good? Okay.
Manananga.
Ah, ah. Oh no. No. Darkness.
That was something.
Yeah.
There's like two lights. There's one next to that door, and there's one like near the storage room, and that
Yeah.
happens to link to
Just
everything.
flicker. It's okay. So, like, since I'm a Rubian local, I
Mhm.
use forest breathing, which is kind of magical in nature, more spiritual, which is what most of our magic abilities are based on, the spirit realm. Um, I control so it's kind of like Demon Slayer if you've seen it. So it's
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. I was
yeah,
thinking that.
yeah. It's basically like force manipulation in a sense, where different things. My main weapons are two Arnis sticks, which are just I have them. I'm not gonna go get them, but they're just wooden batons pretty much, and one of them. Well, I only have one now. Lore, I lost an arm. Uh, the more I use my forest breathing, the more my body turns into wood, and eventually I'll turn into a tree. So my kit is specifically around using the forest to my advantage instead of cutting through it. So again, that's one of the big parts of how each of the Inquisitors and the Karai were designed is specific regions in Rubia. So the ocean, the mountains, the forests, the swamps, different different Karai squadrons and battalions were designed specifically to combat the Rubians and monsters in that area. So where were you operating mainly? Do you know, or did
I
you kind
feel
of
like
just go all
mostly
around?
around the forests and because the witches forest too. Was that a forest? Or was it
I
Kind of
a
believe
kind
so,
of
yeah.
forest swampy.
Yeah, so we operated mostly in the forests and swamps. We didn't do very well in the hills, but we were kind of more all-rounder specialized. Ruben's character was like more of our definitely all-rounder. Like he had the serrated katanas, he was a stealth build-ish, also had some first aid capabilities. My character was the if there's an obstacle, remove it type of thing. He had like enough intelligence to be able to like use the terrain if he could. Like caltrops, spiked shoes, like, and just like overall, just trying to narrow down the obstacles and objectives. And
Yeah.
then Addison's was our fire character. So he, what didn't he do? He burnt like everything.
Yeah. He also knew how to speak Rubian, so sometimes he would say things in Rubian to the locals. Didn't he at one
Oh.
point, like when there was remnants of a village, he was like, come out in Rubian," and then he torched them, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
There was that. There was that. So here's the thing, right? He was weirdly enough the most like sympathetic-ish to the Ruvians, but he chose fire as his method of killing them, which I don't understand. Like that's like the most brutal one in my opinion. But like he definitely like was the most sympathetic or open to Rubian civility or like culture. Whereas like my character could not comprehend that they had a culture. His was more like yeah, he was like, oh, what a pity. These poor misguided creatures. Only only when only when he met the spearman's wife, was when he was like, "Oh, I guess some of them can be people." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there was definitely more remorse coming in that arc before we got sent off to the campaign's end.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you guys did get
I
sent
want
to
to
train
also.
in Galera, so.
That's a funny point. I trained in Galera.
That's
That's
so.
where the. That's one of the dens of the forest breathers. Did you run into any of us during your time?
They didn't get to play
Is that
that.
something
That's where
that
it's
can?
ending.
Uh,
So we're just gonna let our characters. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe you'll see him.
yeah. But damn, that's pretty cool. So regarding the interactions with Rubians, are there any like how was what if you had little interaction because most of it was probably combat, I'd assume. In terms of interactions with like NPC dialogue with Rubians, would you note any specific ones that kind of struck you in a certain way, negative, positive?
Definitely the spearman's wife. She was the only one that really had regular contact with us, and then whooped our ass in training. So we had to acknowledge her as a person. And then then there was like we also got to observe when we were scouting like how to take down some Rubian things, how they behaved. Um and there was the Tikbalong, I'm not gonna say bell. Was it a bell?
It was a chime, more so.
Yeah, Tikbalong chime that they used to like not control, but like kind of.
It like
Lore.
subdued it.
Oh,
Yeah.
It would pacify it
We got to
temporarily.
see
Yeah.
stuff like that, and we are like, wow, these guys are pretty innovative for uncivilized people. Hmm. You know what I mean? There's like there
just
are these
finding
moments of
loops in
like
your head.
doubt, right? Like yeah, definitely like there were opportunities for our characters to grow more, but we do want to do the reboot, so
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be expanded on more in that, like more. I think we were also like not really used to being a party, so the roleplay aspect wasn't like the most focused on. But overall, like I see kind of. Hold on, I kind of lost the plot there.
You're good.
No, that's all right.
So,
I've got a question loaded up if you want to
yeah,
go to that.
go for it.
Unless you had one, Vito. You're good.
No,
If you
no,
want
no,
to do
no.
yours.
Just stream of consciousness. You go for your question because I feel like that would work.
Okay, so in terms of, once again, going back to the tactics part of it, as you guys, did you see a change in tactics as you as like a grand change in tactics as you guys started from the beginning of the campaign towards the end? Did you pick up new skills? Did you find any that were particularly useful against certain monsters or Rubians? Did you find yourself using skill sets that the Rubians would use? You would kind of adapt to what they would use, the
Oh.
locals?
Oop. He got deleted.
Well, I like this. This is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
This is good. You ready?
Yeah, so that's my question.
Right. Okay. So, I would say we did kind of have to constantly adapt our tactics because the terrain was never the same. Um, and also at the start of the campaign, we had 4 uh members, and then we like a ninja that made infiltration a lot easier, and then we had 3. So just in terms of new skills though, it just kind of felt like we were upgrading our skill tree to be able to like do what we already did pretty like more efficiency. Um if anything, like it wasn't really like the skills that mattered more rather than like a change in mindset if it meant like winning, because oftentimes winning didn't even mean like destroying the enemies, especially when we ran into monsters. Most of the time that was just move to the objective. Yeah.
Okay. Because the way we're running our campaign in Rubia is it's much more roleplay oriented because we've been doing this for quite some time. How long has it been, Vito? It's been almost...
Let's see. It'll be 3 years this coming session, actually, or like somewhere in June. Like started. Did we start in June or did we start exactly after post graduation? Or not post graduation?
Not sure.
It might be 3 years now.
Probably going on 3 years.
Yeah.
But since we are more roleplay oriented, and now that we just got into Rubia, it's kind of continuing leads that brought us into the country, and a lot of my lore. So this is kind of my arc of the campaign as a whole, is following along old routes that I used to take, family members, different clans that I used to interact with, NPCs from my lore. It's a lot more just changing, and the way it was written out for me in terms of Rubia itself, I had not been home in a very long time. There were several time skips, and we had explored so much of Rubia and the spirit realm that most of my interactions with Rubia was through letters, and was through people who would come from Rubia to Yumagawa, whether it be one of my few brothers left, actually one of my only brothers left, right?
Yep. How many brothers did you have again?
It doesn't matter, because all
Was
that
that
matters is
NPC
who's
5
left.
or NPC 6? Sorry. No.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, my wife, in-game wife, was in Yumagawa, and then she went back, and then my brother as well. So a lot of the interactions I had with Ruby was really just learning about things through letters. And I mean, obviously this is a different time period, but we're kind of towards the tail end of the Karai's involvement in Rubia, so where they're starting to retreat and back up, and most of their forces are withdrawing. That's how we started the Rubia arc. Is we were in a port in Yumagawa and seeing all the Karai ships docking and unloading all of their supplies and injured soldiers, and leadership that ended up not being leadership for much longer.
Yeah. So basically, your first encounters with the Rubia arc, actually, the first NPC with a real pull in Rubia that you both saw was the Empress.
You guys killed the Empress?
No, they didn't kill the
No,
Empress.
no,
They saw her getting led
You
off
guys
a boat
killed the
in
Empress.
shackles.
What?
Yeah. Speaking of,
So something must have went wrong.
yeah, not only
Good
that,
for her, though. I mean, no, good for you guys. She
um,
was terrible.
for me with Rubia, and this is my next question for you guys, is because I know it's one of my favorite lines from you, Adrian, in our first Rubia session together, but it's "Welcome to Rubia." What was either of your "Welcome to Rubia" moments? I know mine, but I want to hear yours first. Like, what is the one that set the tone for Rubia?
I have to think about this one.
I'll go. So for me, it was the ambush. So we stopped by the Marquez estate, and in a location that's not known to the Karai, maybe. Well, it is, but they just don't fuck with us. But
Not yet.
we loaded up we loaded up a boat full of supplies and started to head south towards the Cradle of Progress, and we got ambushed by a Karai, I guess, squadron, like a scouting squadron. We were getting darts shot at us from the Needle Master, and
Cool.
yeah, and we almost we got messed up, but we messed them up too. I think we took three.
You took three
three
and two
soldiers.
escaped.
Yeah, two escaped, and then had our little lore drop of the Conqueror.
Yeah.
And yeah, we realized.
Fun quest.
Yeah, so I
Sorry.
realized the moment we had that thing is I'm not really home. I'm just in my home country because so much has changed, and even now with the reputation that I had in Yumagawa as I was a hitman. I was one of the biggest hitmen in the underground. Um, like anti-Karai all the way, basically just Robin Hood, and knowing that I had a target put on my back, even in my home country, in my home turf, and I almost died on my first expedition out, is like, wow, okay, this is alien to me too. Welcome to Rubia.
Yeah. I think our welcome to Rubia moment was probably pretty much during the first session when kind of we're given these orders, we're kind of told kind of what we're doing is noble, and then we subdue the first village, and by subdue I mean exterminate everybody in it. Um, and kind of the outro to that session was just like like it was something like with the kindling and like the screams, and it's like welcome to Rubia, and we're like, well, oh, we're the bad guys.
Did you
You
go
know,
in thinking you were the bad guys, or like having suspicions?
yeah, there were suspicions. I think it were we not we I don't think we were outright told it until, right?
There were
Like,
suspicions, but I don't think I outright told you. I think the thing that put unease into everyone's mind was actually the session 0 session we had with everyone before we even launched the real campaign. Um, Basically, this is where they encountered the Tianak, but they're in this like settlement. Addison, who is the character that had to leave, but Addison's character left the settlement because he heard a baby
and
cry.
Claw.
Mm-hmm. And it's in the middle
That's
of
your
the
first
night.
mistake, buddy.
Yep, he left the settlement. So he goes up to this baby. This baby latches onto his neck, and he starts getting attacked by Balval. Chris's character gets in there, bats the baby into the forest, gets them out of there by throwing like firecrackers. Ruben's providing cover fire from the wall with the other archers who are just raining down arrows behind them to make sure to cover their escape. They get back to this settlement, and Addison's character is literally on 1 HP. This is when I like text him privately as Ruben and Chris are talking. I'm like, are you okay with me killing your character right now? And he goes, send it. So what I do is I let them visit their friend who is in like the infirmary, and they're walking out, and I give him a moment with the Empress. And the Empress leans in, she goes, you did well, my soldier. Did I ever tell you about the weakest link in the chain breaking? Have you ever heard that say? And he goes, I've heard something like that. She goes, in Rubia there are no weak links. And he goes, what? And that's when she takes out a, like, needle and just, I'm sorry, and euthanizes him. That was my moment where I was like, all right, this is the tone. There are no weak links in this chain. And that's the Empress's leadership structure. However,
And I
there
wonder
are
why she got let off the boat in shackles. Huh?
However, there are other Inquisitors in the area. You know, Ho-Ten is the best example of a really good Inquisitor for the Kurai, and someone that the Rubians fucking hate.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to talk about each of your respective first experiences with Ho-Ten?
Let's start with the good.
Yeah, let's go, Chris.
I mean, I think we first saw Ho-Ten, like, we didn't, like, directly interact with him. He was more just, bodyguarding the entrance at the Empress at the start. He was intimidating. He was, like, because we got supplies first before we met him, right? And my character is probably the biggest and strongest person that, that's going around, like, getting supplies. And there's, like, one situation where I have to intimidate a guy into, like, not calling the because someone breaks a sword. Someone breaks a sword. Vito, help me out. Remember this. Who breaks a sword at the start of the
Oh, I
at the
believe
start?
that was Ruben, if I'm not wrong.
He broke a sword trying to buy it. I think he was getting scammed high key. Um, and my character goes up to the shopkeeper and like intimidates him into acting right. And so kind of feel like a big fish in a small pond here. And then we meet Ho-Ten, who's like 2 times his size, and I'm like, oh, yep, nice to meet you, sir. You know what I mean?
It's
Uh,
literally the picture of the dog and the wolf.
yeah, pretty much. But some stuff advances. We see him as like this quiet, stoic bodyguard. We don't think we're gonna see him again for a while. Um, this like terrible encounter happens with Zeke Belong. This guy just we just hear he one punches it. He's pretty cool. Sorry, my memories are pretty like shaky because this
A
was
while
a
ago.
while ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Alright, Adrian, what was your first experience with the Executioner? So first
Yeah,
off,
so
set this
he's
whole thing up from when Alex walks out, because that's the funniest part to me.
Yeah, so we are on our way out of the land of witches. We found my sister's new husband, and yeah, so we find he's leading us out of the land of witches. We needed a guide because we did get messed up pretty bad. Trying me even being a Rubian local, it's hard for me to navigate places that aren't really the like the deep forests, not swamps or anything like that. The land of witches is foreign. But anyway, we're out with Chama, who's the husband, and we come across a Rubian village which has already been sieged, and they're lining up. They're lining up Rubians just outside. We post up on a roof. We're watching, and the executioner comes out, and he's just. I forgot what he really said, Vito.
He didn't say anything, actually. It was the flame bearer that was decreeing everything. He was basically saying, like,
Yeah.
these are your 3 main leaders of this village. They need to submit 2 out of 3 or we execute all of you. One said no, so he chopped that first guy's head off.
Yeah, so me and my party, we're sitting up on a roof, shitting our pants because we're like, okay, we're strong. We cannot take a village, especially with 2 inquisitors. And I'm sitting there just shaking in my boots because I've had run-ins with the flame bearer before. Yeah, and I'll give Lauren that later. But there's 2 inquisitors here. We know we're outnumbered. We know we're outgunned. We are not going to make it out of here. So we decide. We have to cut our losses. I hate this, but we'll stay. We'll see what happens. If we can save people, we'll save people. Alcoy, my third party member, who is no longer with the campaign, but our third party member, hops down from the roof and waltzes right into the whole procession just kind of announces himself there. And the rest of us immediately just go, oh no, and begin to plan just an absolute Ocean's 11 getaway. And all hell breaks loose because he walked down there and just exposed himself to an entire village of people who know us and want to kill us because we kind of made a name for ourselves in Yumagawa.
Not
We
only
just...
that. Oh, sorry. I
No,
was
go
going to
ahead.
say the flame bearer's face was hidden for the first part of this, so Adrian didn't know who it was. Alcoy says his name, and the flame bearer walks out and goes, "You travel with him, Marquez."
And now he knows I'm in the area. So I'm like, all right, let's get busy, I guess. I jump down. We start just hailing like all of the crowd control techniques that we have. I can deploy smoke screens with one of my breathing techniques, and Jude, which is the other party member, can stun lock people or just stun people with her eyes. We just start throwing everyone out of the area, and oh my god, what a mess. People start dying left and right. We're trying to pull people through the river. We start getting hit bad. We're trying to fend people off. It's crazy. So yeah, we're not huge fans of the executioner.
Not only that, he
I
hit
just
Alcoy with a
I
fucking
just love how
tree.
Yeah, he
I
hit
love how
Alcoy with a tree.
I love how your tactic is to bring him to the river because in the first campaign that we ran, session 1, I immediately was like, we should break the boats. They're probably gonna go to the river. Like before we even started the attack, my character was breaking the boats. I love how you're like, so obviously we went to the river, and I was like,
Yeah, we gotta get to the river, guys. This is
no,
like our
don't
number
do
one
it.
bet.
It's like,
No,
where are the
don't go to
fucking
the river.
boats?
They know about the river. No boats, by the way. We didn't have any boats. Go figure.
Did you say
I
go?
just start I just start telling people, like all the Rubian villagers, to run through the river because nobody's boats were there, just waiting through. They're getting shot down, slashed to death, and I have to dip out, and we just have to lick our wounds, and we just get into a huge argument because this was crazy.
Of course, a Rubian would lick their wound.
Oh yeah, you think so?
They wouldn't have our dry modern medicine.
The West, just
Ugh.
third world Rubians. No, this
Third
is so
world.
bad.
Ugh.
Couldn't be me.
That's how
He's
we
a
felt like
potion.
80% of the campaign. That was like, because we'd have to be in character sometimes. We'd be like, yeah, of course a Rubian. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. No, and
God damn.
the whole reason why I was so scared for that fight and I didn't really engage, I was just all about escape, is because I know that every Inquisitor is built specifically to fight a certain kind of Rubian and fight in a certain kind of region, right?
Right.
And they all have specialized purposes with their squads. The Flame Bearer is kind of the exact
your natural
opposite.
enemy.
No, he's not. Because the way the Marquez work is we survived most of the attacks because the trees around our camps won't burn. And we won't burn because we use Kamagong wood, which is a pretty major part of our... There's some Kamagong right there that I gave Vito.
Yep.
That's one of my
It's like
broken
wet, moist
sticks. It's just extremely durable. In real life, fun fact, is actually banned from export because it's so rare now. That wood doesn't burn in Rubian lore, so we kind of survive most of it. And the Flame Bearer, go figure, he can't really burn us. Me and all of my brothers, when they were still alive, when we were still kids, got into a scrap with the Flame Bearer, and we both survived. We both heavily injured each other, but the Flame Bearer, one Inquisitor versus all of the brothers that can forest breathe, and none of, like, he survived and we survived, was crazy. Because he's not built to kill us, but he managed to fend off 8 forest breathers. So, just me. Just me is not a good matchup. And we remember each other. So that's like the kind of perspective that we have. Even though this is my land, I'm still deathly afraid of Karai Inquisitors, because they mean business.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I wanted to go over was, what was it trying to say? Oh, the difference in how we interacted with the Karai in Yumagawa. So evidently you don't know much because you're mainly in Rubia for the most part, or virtually all of it.
Dirty.
Yeah.
They're much more structured, right? They have royalty
Also,
and
you
all
said
that stuff.
something about a spirit realm. Never been there. Have we been there?
No.
Like, kind of with the
It,
Manananggal, maybe?
Nope.
it's two
But
separate
like,
worlds.
Mm.
yeah,
Can I
we
explain those,
never
Vito? Am I
Yeah,
allowed?
we
please,
never
please, go,
got
go,
there.
go.
So in Yumagawa, there's, obviously the earthly realm, and then there's the spirit realm, where most of the creatures of myth and the magic kind of goes from. We traveled there before for a huge. God, I can't even begin to explain what happened there. We had some real character development. Men Mother, all that stuff. A town full of dolls that we didn't know were dolls until we killed the Men Mother.
You didn't technically kill her. I think the fall did.
Oh yeah, the fall
What?
did. And then, so let me paint this picture. So we pull up to the spirit realm, yada yada yada. We go through, looking
Right.
for Jude's husband, so one of the players' husbands, and
Right.
we go through this town, and it's a bunch of like these anthropomorphic animals that talk. Like there's a panda, there's a bear, right? He's a bear. The candle maker. What's his name?
Opocho.
Forgot. Opocho, and he's super cool. We're having fun, just talking. We go up to the mountain, and we're like talking to there's these weird creatures, like weird birds that fly around. They talk to us. We get into a scrap with the Men Mother. Who is this? Vito, describe the Men Mother for me.
So there's almost no description because the Men Mother stays just out of sight. She's a creature with far too many arms and far too many legs to be human. Nobody really ever sees her head. Her arms just kind of reach out from the darkness. Even when she was chasing them in broad daylight, her arms and legs kicked up so much snow that all you could see were the arms and legs coming out of the snow, trying to grab towards them. So, basically, like Lovecraft. Think of like Asian Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah, and she falls off the cliff. We get into a huge scrap. We find Jude's husband. She falls off a cliff, and as we're going back down, the entire village is filled with writhing, in pain abominations. So it's like mixtures of animals with people. Like, it was so weird. It's like the way Men Mother worked is she created
Like
these
taxidermy?
creatures. Not really. It's more like a messed up version of Mr. Potato Head, right? Where just different arms and limbs were just kind of jotted together and sewn and stitched, and a soul was put inside of it to kind of be there. And when the Men Mother died, allegedly, the veil dropped, and we could see the creatures for what they were. And turns out, oh,
Jude's husband?
Ida's family. No, Ida's
No?
family. Jude's long lost brother
Who is
was
an
in the spirit
ex-Karai.
realm. Ex Karai. Yeah, I almost killed him when he was a kid, but he was there. He found a family with a fox lady and had a kid. We get to the house, and we're already shitting bitch. We're like, oh, she's definitely one of these things. So we are blitzing through the forest trying to get to this house, and we find Ida's son. Son. Oh no.
I learned how to sign for that role specifically.
He was deaf, so I know a little bit of ASL, and Vito does too. He learned it specifically for the role. And we found out why he was deaf is because his mouth didn't really work because it was sewn shut.
And he also didn't have ears. They were
Coraline
chopped
style.
off.
Yeah, he didn't have ears, so it was just over. And oh my god, we had his father Mercy killed his son, and then I had to run in the house and find the wife, and the wife was a doll. And Oh God, what a mess. That's the spirit realm. A lot of our stuff is. I mean, you had a lot of fun during your campaign. Mine was nothing but trauma, from start to finish.
Oh, I wouldn't know about that. We had a Manananggal situation, and after we came back from that, we had to go back to that because she put a curse on the spearman's wife, and
Ah, there it is. Yeah, the mark.
she ate her baby.
Yeah, that
The
sounds about right for
Manananggal ate
those
her
things.
baby, and then oh yeah, and wait, no, 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 she died, right? And then the baby was alive, but was gonna die without the mother. So we brought her back to the witch, and we revived the mother, and the baby was gone.
Oh my God.
Listen, it was either we lost both of them or one of them, and we take no responsibility for what happened. We saved a life. Anyways, uh,
So, Adrian,
Honestly,
if
so
you've ever
real.
seen As Above, So Below, the whole
Yes,
setup for finding that witch's hut was As Above, So Below.
that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
dude,
sick. The layers.
yeah, but like, um, yeah, we had to kidnap her from the settlement, her corpse anyways, and then get her there, and then there was a whole thing. And the spearman thanked us. She hated us, obviously. Um,
Yeah, I wonder why.
kind of sacrificed her baby soul to save her life. But you know
Oh,
how it
that's
is.
what you did. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm all right. Now I see.
Soul and body.
Now I got the picture.
He also
So yeah,
conveniently
well,
met a
there you
deaf
go. When you take
witch.
one,
Very nice. Pretty weird though.
what was her?
She
Do you
like
remember her
showed
name?
us. I don't. Wait, we were given her name, weren't we?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
It was. Yeah, I remember like because we needed it as insurance in case she tried to betray us.
What was
Um.
her? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she also like gave us all these like little charms that like showed us our most like valuable things that we had in life.
Actually, no,
Kind
that
of
wasn't her
our
name. Here,
katana
hold on. Let me send you.
character. Our
There.
katana character had like his son, like in his charm. The fire character had I think his blacksmith uncle. What's his blacksmith's uncle name, huh?
What? Blacksmith
What's
Wong.
Uncle Wong? What's up?
One thing at a time.
Okay.
What was the witch's name?
Sure. Which his name was Tala or
Second one.
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, that
Oh wait,
tracks.
no, yeah, it is the first one. Well, no, your sister's name is Kaya.
well, Kaya's the name of the woman too. So
Oh, fair.
No, my sister's name is Tala.
Well, that was her original name.
Yeah, and then it went to.
so uh, okay, wait. So Kaya's married to the fisherman. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's two Kayas.
There's
The
two
Deaf
Kayas.
Witch.
Yes.
No, the
Kaya's a
deaf witch is
Rubian name.
Tala.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, she's the Karai woman married. I mean, the Ruby and
Yeah,
Karai
yeah.
woman married to the spearman.
Point is, that's my sister.
Which
The
one?
one with the
The
Manananggal
deaf
abortion,
witch.
or the
The
witch?
deaf witch. The deaf witch is my sister. Did she have a husband during
Huh.
the time?
No.
No. Good. All right. Glad to know Chan was recent. God, what a mess.
To think she helped out the one of the people that end up murdering your whole family. The flame bear.
Yeah.
Well, the witch you met was actually like 13 at the time, or like 15 or something.
That tracks. Yeah, that's how old she was when she left. Yeah, so Tala ran away from home because she was an
And
adoptee. She was
and
adopted
did us a
from.
solid.
Yeah, and did you a solid, huh?
Yeah,
Well, it
we're
sounds
probably
like
gonna.
Tala.
Honestly, without her, we probably would have all died, and none of the bad stuff in your backstory would have happened.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
God damn it. Yeah, so Tala is a she's deaf. the way the witches work, they're like it's a whole thing about the deaf witches are the most powerful because they can pick flowers that sing without succumbing to the effects of them. And Tala was a kid when my parents picked her up from a destroyed village, brought her back to the Marquez estate, raised her as a Marquez, and then eventually she ran away from home to find her people and whatnot. And I guess she found you guys too. Anyway, Wong.
Wong.
It's pretty cool. He makes our
You met
weapons.
Wong? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what he did
He
too?
gave us
He
like a
made my
candy.
arm. Yeah, Wong Pop, right?
Yeah, man.
Did you get?
Yes. Mel's gonna join.
God,
Someone you both
Mel's gonna
also
flip,
know.
dude.
Cross over.
Mel's
See-
gonna be pissed.
Wong used
Well,
to
Mel
be a
already
Karai
kind of knows
nationalist.
because
Oh, Mel
we
already
were in the
knows?
pirate campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what was it? Wong used to be a Karai nationalist. And then something happened.
Yeah.
Wong.
We're gonna have to
is
write.
a-
We're just this is more to Vito. We're gonna have to write kind of how our characters changed over time.
Oh, don't worry, we got you.
So,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. Don't worry. We'll build them out too. We'll
I
stat
think
them.
Adrian kind of knows what's going on, anyways.
I think he could figure it out.
Yeah, I think he can.
So, the natural progression of a Karai officer is to eventually become an Inquisitor. This guy...
You guys are
Boy.
dead. You guys are dead. Oh, now I see. All right, connecting the dots now.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, there you go.
See you there.
See you
I'll
there.
see you.
Anyway, Wong.
Wong.
Mm-hmm.
Wong is a dear friend. Was a dear friend.
Hey, he's a
Not
chill
because
guy.
he associated with Karai.
No, he's not because he was Karai associated. Because he's dead.
Ooh,
Wong
what happened
died
to him?
in a siege
Done by the Karai.
done by the Karai. Wong was okay. So, in our lore, Wong was a. We stayed at his house. Well, his lore goes beyond sparrows, but Wong was a blacksmith. We stayed at his house when we had 4 party members. Then we had 3 because one of them died.
Oof.
And Wong was always like a good supporting character for us because he built weapons for us, and he also, when I lost my arm, he built me a prosthetic because I lost my right arm during a scuffle with my brother, who is a Karai, is now dead. So I got my arm from him. He made upgrades, and ever since he died, I've been trying to outsource to different people. He always gave us Wong Pops, and I guess we're just connected that way,
forgot
huh?
Long Pops.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
It's a
nothing
shame to hear
special,
about him,
Vito.
though. He was like
There's
a
nothing
person.
special to you. There's nothing special to you.
This
I
is
can't
special.
have something for myself. I can't have Wong. Like, be a cool guy.
He is a cool guy.
And now I guess,
He
and now I
is a
guess he's
cool
tied
guy.
in. He's tied in with people I'm gonna have to kill.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, whatever you say. Your campaign.
I'm amazed, though. You know, he went from a blacksmith to a vet.
Pretty much. Actually, he went the other way around. Vet to a blacksmith.
To a blacksmith.
Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it. Oh my lord.
It's gonna be so fun playing the villain, man.
Dude, you're already getting, like, as a joke, obviously, but you're already getting under my skin as Rafi. It's gonna be crazy.
Oh, it's gonna be nuts. Oh.
Dude,
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, yo, my character's gonna be there, maybe a bit of a menace, but
Oh, you haven't
Ruben's
met my
gonna be
character.
terrifying.
Ruben's character is not going to be someone to be fucked with.
He's gonna be the
We're gonna-
scariest motherfucker out there.
We're gonna go band for band. I hope you know this. You're in
Oh, I
my
hope
turf.
so.
I've got this thing. You know what a spirit terrain is?
Oh, what the fuck? Is that a domain expansion?
He gets a domain
Wait, what?
expansion.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, wait, spirit to domain expansion.
We shamelessly pull
What
from our
Welcome to
favorite
Rubia.
animes.
We're gonna have another tavern talk. Be like, what was your welcome to Ruby moment? Oh yeah, when we got our asses kicked by that one forest breather.
Oh,
So, well, one of us is gonna die.
Actually, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Now we should start explaining our kits. I'm gonna explain my kit in particular, just so
I
we're all aware.
I do not.
Do not? You just want to get hit by it?
Trust me,
You don't
you're
want to be
gonna need
explaining
it.
your kit to this man now.
Oh, all right.
Just
Cool.
because can I let him in on something or
Yeah,
no?
sure.
How
He
much
won't know
should I
when
let
it'll
him know?
happen, but he'll know it's gonna happen.
It'll be a boss fight. Like we're gonna be fully kitted out. Like
Yeah.
it's this isn't gonna be where the reboot starts. This is gonna be where our old characters are already like at their peak,
Yeah.
going to meet yours.
Like
So,
they're ready
what-
to
you don't
kill
wanna-
characters.
Can I ask what level you guys ended off on?
Oh, we're just
You're-
boosting it. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
okay.
we're just
Yeah.
like
They
there's
also
like a
use the
huge
skill
time
tree.
skip between where we ended our campaign to
Yeah.
we use the skill
Okay.
tree.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm also
So, yeah.
using
Are you
Hayes-
on nimble?
maneuvers.
Are they on nimble?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mine has this limit break. You're like
We're gonna see, because this is like like the pre-conferences during like big boxing matches.
Yeah.
This
Man,
is
it's
just-
funny
this
you
is just
say
it.
that.
this is just oh yeah.
I feel like
Boxing
Conor
game.
McGregor.
This man's
I feel
gonna
like Conor
fucking
McGregor.
die.
Well, there's
This man has never seen a tree jump out of the fucking forest.
just think of fighting like evil Batman and the Hulk. think of
Evil Batman.
Yeah, it's
and
not
the Hulk.
Chris.
I'm not
Inquisitor
evil
Batman.
Batman.
Oh,
I'm not
If I
evil
pull up to
Batman.
if I pull up to a fight and Vito introduces an Inquisitor as he's known as the Batman.
They're
Oh.
just giving up on the spot.
You're
Oh
a
my
carnival
God.
user, right?
Oof.
No, I'm not the Batman. Don't worry
Oh,
about
you're
it.
not the
Nah, it's
Batman.
literally Conquest
Okay.
and fucking evil Batman over here.
So how many do you have? You have 3?
Two.
Just
now?
two.
Just 2 for now?
Just two.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys
Okay.
you're gonna
You're gonna
I'm sure
need two.
encounter the flame bear down the line. But we only need two.
You only need 2?
We only need two.
Oh,
They're ready to
we
die.
blew up
too.
a castle.
Yeah.
We blew up multiple castles. All right,
Well,
let's start here. You know what? Let's just for fun. Let's just go band for band of terrible things we've done to each other.
Sure.
All right. For the beginning of my campaign, I'll start. We tore up an entire Karai tournament and just
Wow.
left it. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to tell me about the villages you destroyed? My homes?
We just hold on. uh Okay, hold on. Get water for a second. Because remember all the horrible things I've done to your people. Okay. Led like 3 teak belongs to a village because we stole the rattle and let them go wild. Yeah.
Do you know what a Shatterkai is?
While you guys were sleeping.
Do you know what a Shatterkai is?
No, what's a
no, he
Shatterkai?
does not.
Good. Yeah, because we're not we don't really leave them. We don't really leave them to tell any stories.
Hmm?
Yeah. You ever heard of the
Are
Sins?
they like ninjas?
You could say that.
Sins?
Yeah.
No, never heard of them.
Yeah, it's good because we killed the most of them. Who's left? Envy and
Pride.
Envy and Pride. Yeah, Pride is your boy. Pride is the leader of the Karai, and I'm after his ass. I
You're
wear a
after his
cloak.
ass.
So here, wait. Let me describe my physical character. I'm standing at a proud 5'8", like 140 something pounds. I wear mainly green because that's the color of the Marquez. We wear kind of green, like robes almost, short robes cut down for forest moving, and I wear a cloak, the large cloak with a symbol of all the sins that I've killed. And sins, man, they're kind of like inquisitors, except a little more magical. And we've killed greed, we've killed lust, we've killed sloth, we killed who else? Glutton. Well, he was kind of my boy, but we killed him. Who else did we?
Actually,
kill?
you didn't kill
Greed,
him. That
lust.
was I believe Envy killed him.
I
I
think
put him on the cloak.
I
Killed Envy. No,
recall
not yet Envy yet.
just this 7 foot, like fully heavy armored, uh, noble warrior with a kanabo charged through a shed, and some poor woman was on the other side. Has like her arm just. It was pretty funny, but there was that.
Yeah, she had an arm made out of wood, didn't she? There's like a
Yeah,
freaking dent
she
in
had
there.
it.
Yeah, my
Well,
party has
it was
caused so many
dented after.
uprisings, though.
Yeah. She was some sort of
Um,
Marquez woman.
yeah, ran
You've
through
killed
her
a few of
shed.
those. Yeah.
No, she didn't die.
No, she's
Um,
alive.
she lived that one.
She went on to
Ah.
have a few sons.
What do you mean?
Ah.
Wait, what do you mean
That
by
was
that?
was that my mom? That
Yes.
she Yeah. She's in a wheelchair now,
Seriously?
by the way.
He hit
The
your
one that
mom.
got
You
away.
gotta kill him.
Yeah. I'm about to
But
run it back for mom.
you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
Well, mom can't run anymore.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You want to hear this? I think you're going to find this funny.
Okay.
So many of her sons are dead that she plays music through the house because it's so big and so empty that if she cuts off the music, it gets really sad. Oh yeah.
Damn.
What
But
I
can
that shed
remember
though,
there
that was
was
pretty cool.
You're welcome.
this, there was a. Oh yeah, I remember. There's this one kid, and had an unidentified item. He was like a Rubian kid. Obviously, I smited him, right? And then I found out it was a flute. It was a fucking flute.
What did you say? What did you say?
It was a flute.
No, but like, what was her reaction?
Oh boy, I could sell
Oh, I
this.
guess rats can play music.
Well, I didn't really hear him play music with it, so I guess it could have been
Yeah.
stolen. It could have been stolen.
The first thing you say. So he had a flute on him. I guess he took it.
You never built such a device.
This must be Karaya nature.
My
Such an
God.
exquisite item. Yeah, we blew. We left the biggest. We left the biggest Dragonborn, like kind of Dragonborn city in the dust. Rise City is now in active revolt because I'm involved. So there's this place called the Underground, right?
Mhm.
In Yamagawa, and during a time skip, I got heavily involved in the criminal underground, and I
As a
ended up
Rubian
becoming
would.
part of a. Yeah, as a Rubian would, right? Rats, underground, crime, the huge, right?
We
I
let
joined
one
a
Rubian into our
one Rubian. Next thing you
one
know,
Rubian.
he's a drug smuggler. So my role, right? I was a prolific hitman, and I
Mhm.
would take all the money that I had bands. All right, let me tell you that. I had gold on gold, and I would send most of like 90% of my money back to Rubia to rebuild. So after your campaign after your campaign and mine kind of starts, all the money that I'm taking is just funneling out into Rubia, and now it's kind of building back up in civilization. Ended up getting a lot of money and sending it off and getting involved with some
Did,
bad people. Yeah.
did any of how many Rubians were there in Yamagawa?
How many Rubians? It's
Was it just
hard to
you?
say. No, it wasn't just me because my main mission there
60.
was to find my brothers who went to Rubia or went to Yumagawa on a mission because they went
Did
missing.
any of them use poison?
Yeah.
Did any of them use poison? Who uses the poison?
I don't remember my brothers. It's been a long time.
Okay. Did they poison a water supply or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that because they probably were dead before that.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, no. I think you killed most of them. I think the one that used poison, I was pretty sure was Leaves. The one that you blew her head off with your fucking prosthetic arm.
Oh yeah, I blew her head off. I blew my sister's head off.
Why did you kill them?
She was Karai.
Oh, but they were Rubian.
They were
They were
Ruby.
Rubian, yeah. Some people defect and then they no longer become Marquez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
I've killed a lot of Karai.
I think somebody framed that on you.
Framed it, like
The
the water supply
poison,
part.
poisoning the water supply because
Like, did I
somebody's
poisoned a Rubian water supply or a
not Karai
Karai?
water supply, and somebody's son dies because of that, and he becomes a very Batman-like person.
Oh, so that was my sister that did that.
And to boost enlistment.
Oh,
Yeah, so we heard there was a Yumegawan in oh wait, no, a Rubian in Yumegawa, and the poisoning just so happens to happen. Yeah.
That's
So
okay.
the Batman,
That's
who's
fine.
already a very scary person, is like extra pissed off these days.
Yeah, I've made a lot of enemies. Oh my god.
Oh my god, this is gonna be so
Dude, who
fun.
else is after me? Dude, the Six Finger Hand is after me, which is another crime syndicate that's involved with us.
Stanley Pines.
Yeah, I'm pretty much Stan Pines. Um, the entirety of what are they called again?
Suzume?
God, yeah, the Suzume is after me. All the major clans are pretty much after me. The Rai clan is after me.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm like public enemy number 1 in Yumagawa. What else have
Yeah.
I done? I'm involved with
Boosting
pirates.
pirates, you
Pirates. So if
say?
any ships go missing from a 4-leaf clover, you know who did it.
From a clover, you say?
Man,
Vito,
where
you
are the
liar!
clover?
You said that he wasn't involved with you lied to us.
Okay, so let me explain something. The clovers are an original thing from me. I built the clovers, or at least the first rendition of them. So can I wait? I'm already sharing this, so
Go for it. Everything.
it's my
all
creation.
out
What
there.
can I say? It's my creation. So the clovers were part of a server called Estrella, which Vito has maybe talked about to you. It was one of the first D&D servers that we played in together. I got invited there and I became a DM. The clovers were the biggest pirate kind of syndicate in that area, in Estrella.
Yep.
Led by Polly Clover. And we ended up building in it. Yeah, you know Polly?
Yep. Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. But that was from the Greeting Gold campaign or something.
They actually
Greed.
used the same
Golden Greed.
gun trick that Antonio Caprese used on you in Midnight Kings when he first met you.
Oh. It's all
Isn't that the one where JB aims a fully loaded gun at his head, and because of his lucky roll, it fucking misfires and Polly respects us.
Yes.
What is that?
Thumbs up.
Are you on your phone?
Oh, you don't see like the thumbs up thing that
No,
shows
I
up on
don't.
my
Yeah,
screen?
I see it. Is
I
that
didn't
you on
do
a
that.
Mac or a iPhone?
I'm on a Mac.
That's why. Max will do that.
I don't like it.
Put up a peace sign. Shit, something. There it is.
Oh.
That's humiliating.
Yeah, so the clovers were my invention.
That's pretty
You know,
cool.
Barris Blackjack, Tony Canarsie.
No,
Uh,
we didn't actually get to spend much time with the Clovers.
oh,
Well, they only
yeah,
ran
but
two
those
sessions
are
so
my
far.
guys.
Yeah.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, clovers are my thing, and then me and Vito fleshed them out even more with all the ships and stuff. We built some crazy looking ships.
The pirate campaign was really fun.
It was.
I got to play Baby Driver basically. I spec'd full into the ship stats and like nothing else.
My man, my man. My character in Midnight Kings was a driver, and then I committed.
Chris saw that actually. I showed it to him.
I
Explain
actually
though.
saw that. Yeah, he
Yeah.
showed me
Hmm.
that. Yeah, it was
Oh,
pretty good acting, dude. Yeah, it
young
was sick.
Sammy,
That was sick as fuck.
rip Sammy. Now I play a
Sammy.
priest.
So, do you want to explain why you killed yourself, Adrian?
Vito's origin story.
Oh yeah. All right. Now we're getting into just campaign sharing, which is hilariously fun. So, during the campaign, me and Mel, who plays a character named Andy, uh, we got involved with because it was honestly such a mess. Um, I met my long lost love after the war, who apparently wasn't my long lost love and was part of a Project Chameleon. And my lover was actually dead because, well, I met my actual lover, and then I went to her house and I found a dead body, and I thought it was the chameleon, and then the chameleon came out of a closet with a baseball bat, which I thought was my lover, and then she pretended to be my lover the whole time, and then I met her at her house, and apparently there was some weird, there was some code word. I think it was like change or something, and then I pull up to the house,
Shift,
shift,
because it
and
had
I
to
go
be
to the house,
applicable
and
in
then we get
boxing
into it.
gym.
We get into a scuffle, and then I kill her, and then I'm so guilty that I do it to myself.
See, but the way that there's
I
more
will be,
build up than that too. It's not just the scuffle.
I will be right
It's
back. You explain
yeah.
this.
So it's not just the scuffle that made her such a harrowing person to deal with. So they go back to his place. He sleeps the night pretty much in front of her door. Uh, and in the morning, he feels his gun maybe shifted a few inches in his in where he left it, which is like the setup there. And then there's also the the fact that they got Andy's brother, who she lives with, to watch the chameleon, but they didn't know it was the chameleon at that point. They thought it was just Miranda, who is the love. Um, and
Oh,
they thought Miranda was what's the word? Just chilling. Like they thought she was like not chilling. They thought she was kind of fucked up in the head because she had to kill someone the night before. So she was very reserved. She wasn't talking much, and sometimes she would slip an Irish accent, not a British one, which was Adrian's first tip off. Um, so they went back down to Dino's diner, which is someone who also knows maybe about a lead for what happened to Miranda last night. So they get there, and Dino said she was on the phone with her, and it was really weird because she said something like, "Oh, I'm just gonna end my shift," and Miranda started screaming and banging the phone until it like broke and then just ran a dial tone. And then they get a call, and it's the guys down at the boxing gym that Leo, Andy's brother, is working at, right? And they're like, yeah,
yeah.
no, she just she went nuts and she fucking tore off. Like, I don't know what happened. And they get to the boxing gym, and one of the guys is mangled. Like, his ear, part of his ear's missing, his shoulder has a chunk missing out of it. Like, he's scratched up, his eye is like plucked out. He's like fucked up. And they're all talking, and they turn to Andy, and they're like, I don't know. I don't know what was going on, Johnny was just talking to me about shifting my weight, and all of a sudden she gets fucking crazy. So they go look around for her. They go back to, Miranda's old apartment, the one with like the old dead body and everything. And they walk in there, and they're they have guns out. They're ready to like fight. It's him and Mel, her character. And instead of finding someone who's like ready to attack them, there's rows of teacups made. Like there is a number of teacups that's just, it's like a number that's unsettling. like like a full table of teacups, and she keeps making more
Yeah.
tea, and she keeps offering it to Adrian. She like offers it to Sammy. Sammy drinks the tea, and then he gets like woozy. Mel doesn't drink the tea, so Mel's character starts carrying him up the stairs, and from behind I go, you feel a blinding pain in your leg, and all of a sudden you feel yourself fall down the stairs, and she falls down the stairs. Her leg's broken, her weapon falls out of reach from her, and Miranda's walking down the stairs, kind of like tinking the baseball bat against each part of the banister, like just as she walks down.
Your audio's.
That's
there it
fine.
is.
But basically, it's like making a clinking noise, and she's just walking down slowly, basically like, you're the only two that I need to tie up loose ends for. And this is where Adrian realizes, shit.
Yeah.
Now the real oh shit moment. Adrian, do you want to explain this with the gun?
Oh my god, so I fell asleep outside of what I thought to be my lover's room, like while she was staying with us. And I had my gun on me. And as soon as I wake up, I check my gun again. Like, okay, my gun's still there. And I get to the house and I'm in this situation. I whip out my pistol and it goes click. And I'm like, oh my god. I check the magazine, there's no bullets. She took the ammo out of my gun and then left the pistol with me so I would not suspect a thing. And I didn't check it because I thought it would be ready. What a soldier am I, man.
So then, basically, what
this.
ended up happening is she gets close enough to Adrian, and he has one last-ditch effort. He just leans in and goes, shift. And she starts swinging the bat, hitting herself in the face. Half her face is fucking swollen and bloodied. And Adrian, what'd you do to this bitch?
Oh, I went ham.
Yeah. So he
I just started swinging.
Yeah.
I just saw red.
Mm-hmm. But not only that, he like gives her a second because he wants to get information, and she just leans in, kisses him on the cheek, and goes, "Final kiss from your lover," and then bites his ear.
Oh, it was over after that. It was over.
Yeah, and he tries to get up and like push him off of her, and he just, like grab him and like push him off, and he just fucking shoves her and just boom, boom.
I didn't leave much left.
Oof.
No. So that's why he.
And she looks just like her, right?
Yeah.
Oof.
Just like her.
That's tough.
And then, like, the biggest part was when I originally pulled up to her apartment and kind of just saw the dead body of what was actually her. I felt the hair and I thought it was a wig. I just felt it and it was real. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And now I realize it wasn't a wig because it was actually her. And how could I call her my one true love if I couldn't even recognize the feeling of her hair? And then bang.
Yeah.
Bang, I left everything in the Bentley, went to my old mechanic shop, and just sent it straight into my skull. And then a whole other thing happened at the funeral.
Yeah.
Wow.
You want to explain the funeral
awesome.
to him?
Oh yeah. That's where we introduced my other character, and Mel shows up to the funeral, and all the rest of the crime family that we were working with, and some other family shows up and just lights the place up. Just lights
That's
the whole
crazy.
place up. Kills pretty much everyone except Andy and one more person. I think it might have been was it the doc?
No, it was what's it called? Alphonse. They
Alphonse.
kind of killed Carlo. But they
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we eventually got our get back. My character is, well, not a lot is about his backstory, and some of it's a spoiler, so I won't say all of it, but he did serve, as most of the guys did, but he was in the U.S. military as opposed to Sammy, who was Royal Air Force. And Father John Clerkin has a little association with chemical weapons. So they ended up the other crime family posted up in our old hideout. So I take Andy and we just throw gas grenades into the place and air it out. And that's how April Caprizi was born. Because now I guess I'm her right-hand man now.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty sick.
Yeah.
Crime and whatnot.
Crime does pay.
I love that. I love the campaign. God, I love that campaign so much.
Excited. But yeah, no.
What,
These are
you
both.
guys doing like another season?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
But I will say, campaigns are good. The players make the campaign though. So like, Chris, I've talked to you about this a lot more than Adrian actually, because I don't really have to complain about, man, this player fucking sucks. They're ruining my mood. Because I've never played, or I don't play much with it anymore. And I didn't have that standard at the time when we started Estrella, Adrian. But after running with a lot of randoms from the D&D club at UMass, Chris has heard it so many times. Chris, actually, let's share our favorite horror story from my one-shots.
Captain, I shoot it.
Least favorite... Oh my god. Least favorite players. Chris, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, we were doing a campaign kind of set in Rubia. We were Rubians, investigating kind of a village that kind of needed help. It was a little bit more vague. But we were kind of like not really mercenaries, right?
No. I think you
Was
were
it the intro to
Karian
that
this
one?
time.
No. We were definitely Rubians. I was
Oh,
Sequoia.
okay, yeah. You were a Rubian, yeah.
Yeah. And there's like a whole like, zombie infestation thing, like cannibals and stuff. You know what I'm talking about, probably.
Duntung.
Yeah, Dantongs. Yeah. And we have this player, and his reaction to literally anything was I shoot it with my bow. Rustling in the bushes, I shoot it. Um, person crawling, need for help, I shoot him. There
It
was
was the most obnoxious
nothing
way
that
he
couldn't
said
be
it.
solved.
Oh. It's not even just the
Oh
I
yeah,
shoot it as a
say it.
joke. The way he said it was just so obnoxious. Like anything. Like, I guess I can't do anything. I shoot it. It was the most obnoxious shit that we've had. Like, I don't know how
He
that
couldn't come
one
up with
phrase.
anything.
See, that's the thing, too. Because I handed him the sheet and he's like, why is there nothing on here? I'm like, it's nimble. Like, you do what you need to do. Like, your skills are here. Your skills are here. These are just what you can do in combat. You can look around and do what you want. It's the definition of, like, if it's not on my sheet, I can't do it. Which is such a Baldur's Gate and, like,
Yeah.
video game mindset to have. Which just takes away from the experience of, like, the do anything game. Like, this is literally the I can do anything I want game. And it's just, like, NPC's not romanceable in the game. It's not romanceable normally. But if you have a D&D game, you can change certain factors. You know,
I get like but like I don't know. Again, there was a lot of people at that table though. There were like
there were.
way too many. No one really could hear what anyone was doing or
It was.
so I could understand kind of the mentality, but it was so obnoxious because he was just the most blatantly annoying about it.
Fully. It was honestly
There
so
was not even like an effort made to engage with like the setting. He just very clearly wanted a dungeon crawl or something.
Yeah. He wanted a, like, pretty much a slog through the mud.
Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah.
Alright. Adrian, who is the most obnoxious player from our time together as with either me or you as a DM? Who is the most obnoxious player?
Do we want this streamed?
I think we both know who you're gonna answer. Answer a different person.
Oh.
No, you can stream it. It's fine. We've already burned that bridge.
No.
I just think there's a difference between talking shit and streaming shit.
Yeah. So we're
True.
gonna cut this one off. But we are gonna talk about specifically, not really specifically, but in general, player character choices
Mm.
and kind of archetypes that I don't like.
Ooh, that's
Okay.
good. I like that.
That's good.
I'm a
like that.
very heavy RP based. I really don't care for combat as long as it's interesting and serves the story. I'm not big into number crunching. I'm not big into building, min-maxing and all that. I will build a character based on what I want, or based on whatever role I need them to serve. One thing I absolutely hate is when people don't read the room and they kind of play their own game within our game, where they only make character choices to serve and further their own story, kind of play a show and tell kind of game. Here's what my character's doing, and here's what they want. And we can try and, almost, force feed interaction between our characters, but at the end of the day, it is a role-playing game with people at a table. So things like, if we're sitting at a table and something happens, there's a certain reaction everybody should have, even if they're in character, it's fine, but there are certain things that you should consider doing, and consider your actions before you make them. You catch my drift of, again, read the room. If everybody's having an emotional reaction to something, you can have an adverse reaction or something that's not really going with the tide, but don't ruin another player's experience.
Break the immersion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't break the immersion. It's not even the immersion, it's just don't make a choice that people are going to have a problem with off the game. You should be making choices for everyone's enjoyment, not just to make the choice because my character thinks it would be best. Make it fit your story, make it fit the story that you want to tell, and then consider the other players and where they fit in with your story and the story the DM's trying to tell. If you make a decision and then next thing you know, the DM doesn't know what you're doing, we don't know what you're doing, and only person that has any kind of plot point as to where this could possibly go is you, why don't you just DM your own campaign and play with yourself?
Exactly.
That
I really don't like the people that are. Oops, sorry. I really just don't like the people who are like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna the people who should have just written a fucking book. But on the other end of that, I do agree. I think, Adrian, you're coming at this from the perspective where it's a very blanket statement. I think my least favorite kind of player to have is someone who cannot take it seriously. Like, if you tell them to take it seriously and they don't, I hate when they can't take it. Like, look, sidebars, jokes, like mid-session, like if I miss-say a name, Ho-Ten's original name was Home or Homie. And that changed very quickly because I didn't want them to have to bite their tongues every time I said Homie. And they're like, what's up, homie? And I was like, all right, that name is changing now.
So hey,
homie, don't
I
die
want
on me,
you to
homie.
No. Listen. It's not even his name that was the problem. It's when you said it. It was like, and this is homie.
so ominous.
we died, and he was like, nope, his name's Hoten now.
Oh man. But
that-
like that's fine.
that was
Like I think that's
iconic.
fine because if there's like a little fuck up. If
I'm
there's a
changing
small
my
thing-
"This is Rubia" moment. That's my new "This is Rubia" moment.
But like yeah, it's stuff like that.
in a brutal.
No, but it's stuff like that. That's fine. Like if we're in the game, if there's something stupid that happens and you call it out, yes. Avian Zaza is fucking hilarious to me.
What?
We'll explain that in a bit.
Avian Zaza.
Just the things that piss me off as a DM, as someone who writes my campaigns and wants the story to be something that is heavily considered. The things that take me out as a DM is tone breaking. It's not immersion breaking that really kills me, it's tone breaking. So there's a difference, in my opinion, and those are two different terms to me. Immersion break is that moment of, ha ha ha, this dumb thing happened, cool, let's get back to it. You know, it's a detract. Tone breaking is something that completely shifts the game. So the best example I can give of a concept is, the best example I can give of that, or like in context, is like joke characters, or like if you've ever seen the meme where it's like when your custom character shows up in a cutscene. That is what I call tone breaking, where it's like something that's constant and droning, you have to deal with it over the whole course of the campaign. You know, I remember there was a character who interviewed for the original run of Yumigawa, and they wanted to make themselves, and I quote, a ramen shop owner who wore a bowl of noodles on top of their head like a hat. Hilarious, great for a joke campaign if it wasn't a serious setting. Funny as hell, like a one-off NPC maybe. For a character, for a campaign which I advertised to be martial, serious, and I don't like using the word gritty because that has certain connotations of players that don't shower and DMs that take things too far.
That is true.
But I want to say, I don't even want to say realistic, but I want to say has darker undertones, or like more profound undertones.
Serious themes.
Serious
I don't
themes,
know,
exactly.
mature themes.
Exactly. Maybe, yeah, I wouldn't say not mature.
Can't say mature themes though, because people might.
They might think that
misinterpret
there's
that,
sex,
too.
and that's another thing I don't like. That is my click moment as a DM. So the original run of To Kill a Fae, Adrian, I know we've talked about this before, but the original run of To Kill a Fae was made to spite someone who broke the no sexual content rule in my old server, Estrella. Or they were treading the line in such a way where I couldn't ban them because of public liking them too much, but unfortunately they did come very close, and they would do things out of game which were affecting in-game roleplay and stuff. Do you remember, what was it, Jackie, that fucking rabbit? So basically, the description of Jackie from, ironically, another person who holds the handle Walrus. Basically, their description was a sexy rabbit in leather clothing. And originally,
okay,
in To
now
Kill a Fae, yep, I'm jogging your. And originally, until Kill a Fae, the first thing the dragon does is play dress up with them, and he makes pink, freaking very like covering armor, like it covers everything. It's not flattering at all. It's bright pink. It's ugly as shit, and she can't take it off. It's like irremovable.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Because you brought a sexual situation into my game, and now you can't remove your armor. You can't remove it. You can't take it off. Your armor is permanently stuck to your body now, and it is not revealing. It's not like that regular fantasy armor. It's not like the woman's fantasy armor, where there's the boob window. There's no windows. It is physically
Dragon
worn.
chastity belt is crazy.
Yeah.
work.
Dragon chastity belt is basically what it was. And she got pissed off. She's like, how do I kill this dragon? And at this point, that was the answer in Estrella. Everything was the answer. The answer to everything was find a way to kill this thing. And then she's like, can I work off screen to like learn how to kill Fae and this and that? And like, it's a Fae dragon. So it took their names. Yubaba style, basically.
Yubaba.
Yeah. And basically contracted them. So I'm like, no, I'm going to build a campaign around this, and you're going to do this in roleplay. And eventually she did kill the dragon, and, you know, the lesson was learned. But it's players like that, where it's not just breaking immersion, but it's breaking immersion within the rules in such a way where you know you're doing it. Like, I remember I talked to them, and I was like, look, dude, like, you were getting way
But
too close.
I think that that comes to like a discussion of whether not briefing kind of the players on maybe their mindset on how the game works rather than like I feel like some people see it as improv storytelling and other people have the mindset of a game and it's very often advertised as a game.
Yes, I think
Um
so.
like I think it's hard for people to make that distinction and not everybody goes into this intending to be a improv actor. You know what I
I
mean? Like
agree.
not everyone is able to mesh like that. I
I would say
think
that.
though I think though it is good to put out feelers for like what kind of players you want early, just run by them like how they want to play the game.
Right. I think,
Just
however,
like
it was less about the way they acted. And, like, look, Estrella was ran goofy as fuck. I didn't care. Someone had a frying pan as a spirit weapon. I could give a shit. It was the fact that it wasn't a roleplay thing so much as it, or like an immersion breaking thing or a tone breaking thing, as it was something that was treading the lines of something in the code of conduct and the rules, and it was purposely treading it. Like they knew they were treading the line because I talked to them and they're like, well, you know, this, and this. This is the reason why I can do this. And I was like, okay, then we're going to handle that. And again, were there better ways of handling it? Absolutely. There always are. But that's also the reason I stepped away from places like Estrella, and the reason why I'm very picky with who I play long term campaigns with. You know, for people to get an invite to my long term campaigns, it's not entirely, I wouldn't say difficult, but I would say for me to put in the amount of effort that I do with Sparrows, or Midnight Kings, or prepping for the Karai, because I know it doesn't seem like I did a lot for the Karai,
dude,
because we,
I'm all right. Dude, I can't even finish a campaign. I've been like trying to like write one for like ages and I keep like going to different ideas. It's like, oh my
To
God.
get into improv.
mm-hmm.
Oh, improv is hard too.
Oh yeah.
I'm an
That is
improv DM. You
I
want to talk
used to
about
be an
Incisor?
improv DM. Let's talk about Incisor, because that's actually the setting I was telling him,
please do.
because he wants to run something very similar to Bloodborne. And Incisor, I wouldn't say is
Oh,
a one for one, but I think Incisor's
I'm thinking
very
of
close
having
analog.
maybe 3 players to start with, just like it's gonna be a prequel to maybe whatever is gonna be a long-term campaign.
You don't say.
Um,
here, I'm gonna say this real quick before we get off topic because I feel like
sure, of course.
we've drained our original topic now. So I feel like closing the stream out before it becomes kind of
Just
just
ramble.
us
Yeah.
talking because we can
Yeah.
talk about this after. So let's close this out real quick. I'll give us a quick outro.
Hold on. Before you do,
All
I have
right.
one
Pause.
more question actually. Related.
Mhm.
We did get very off topic though. So actually 1 to 2. So if you played the other person's campaign, how do you think you would have approached Rubia?
Um, I feel like the game would have been, or I guess the story would have been more like defense rather than offense. Like it would have definitely been more like, oh, we gotta push out the invaders. We know the lay of the land. We're able to kind of coordinate nature to help us. It would have probably been a more empathetic campaign where we're definitely the heroes of it, and it would be different. Yeah,
Okay. And Adrian?
probably having to like unite tribes and stuff. I don't know.
Adrian?
I'm not gonna lie. I would have run it the same exact way you did. I would have full sent into like the villain part of it because playing, I mean, not to sound sadistic, but playing a villain is just fun.
It
Just having
is.
to, being able to get rid of like, oh, I gotta save this person, save that person. You can still have morals, but your morals can be blinded. You can allow
Oh
your
yeah.
character to be blinded by propaganda, by a higher power. So I don't blame him at all. I don't blame you at all for playing the way you played. I think it's a great way to play, and I'm very jealous that you got to run through my home country like that.
All right.
Yeah,
And
It's for all it's worth.
if
It's
there were
fun.
more if there were more like avenues to kind of defect, I think those would have been interesting, but I feel like those would have been a lot more work on Vito's end to like plan out.
Um,
Like there's a difference between like planning out, going invading, kind of taking over, and then the plan to plan out a whole insurrection. Like I think
not
it's
exactly.
different.
That was kind of
Also,
originally the plan. So again,
but
the
narratively, I feel like
Empress,
it'd be hard to pull off.
narratively, kinda yeah, because you guys were so indoctrinated well. But I think what the angle I was going to push is get you close to the Inquisitors, get you close to the people in your ranks, and then start see the cracks slipping through from the Empress's ways. Think about it. Hoten, you loved him, right? You thought he was great. The Empress, you were kind of wary of. So over time, you keep meeting Inquisitors that are like, look, the Empress, she's not running this place right. And then over time, you guys are like, yeah, she's not running this place right. Insurrect against the Empress, send her back to Yumigawa, and then continue on Karai's merry way. But it would be more.
It's just the way that our
Mm,
characters were written, it would have been really hard to pull that off because
I would agree.
Go is a fully indoctrinated nationalist. If anyone brought that up to him, he would have probably been very upset about it.
Yes.
And then you have Ruben's character who has a son in Yumegawa, and he needs the money for this.
Right.
He's probably very much not on the end of going against authority. If anything, his morals were the most neutral. I don't think he would have been inspired to insurrect or cause any shaking in the boat.
Yeah, fair enough.
And the only person who was empathetic enough would have been the flame bearer, which is so funny to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the funniest part. The only person, so I think his character would have had to do a lot more of the emotional labor
Mm-hmm.
into kind of convincing us, but the scheduling just wasn't there for,
No, I don't think
for
so.
that.
But
Um,
could have been a lot more.
but I think it could have been done.
Could have been,
But
yeah.
I think the way that our characters were like built from the start was definitely more towards a go the distance kind of campaign.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
also, how like Vito said, I want to speak on how he would DM it, but the way I would is you could, like, honestly, if you guys did defect, it would probably end up with you either dead or joining Sparrows in some way, shape, or form, just because that's how this storyline probably would flesh out, especially with it being a prequel. You guys would be it would be an entirely different experience for you. So I think
Actually, I
you
think
did
I
make the
told
right
Vito
decision.
that the only way to even redeem my character at all is if he dies.
Yeah.
Like he is killed children, innocent families, and he not even like lost a wink of sleep over it. Uh, even when the Manananggal showed up to haunt them with images of like their horrible deeds, he was like, "Holy crap! It is a hall of achievement in here." Oh,
Gee
the god of death shows up and says, "Your people have been giving mine a lot of work." And like obviously not happy about it, and I'm like, "Thanks."
Only thing missing in here is a frame.
Exactly.
Can
Dude.
I get that in writing?
Vito, didn't the god of death try to kill me even though he knows he's not allowed to?
No, he didn't attempt to kill you, but he just looked at you and was like, I wish I
There
could.
was a dice roll. There was a
There
dice
was
roll.
a dice roll. I did that just to scare you. I'll be honest with you. That was just to freak you the
Oh,
fuck out. You're like, ah,
that's
crap.
so funny, bro. I was like, last chance to take it back, and I was like, he doesn't even know he did anything wrong. I can't.
Uh, but,
But yeah, all right.
alright, so finishing it out, looking to the future. Double part question. What are you the most excited for with Rubia now? And I lost the second part. What the hell? And if they were on the same, no, just that first part. Just answer that first part while I try to remember the second one. I gotta start writing this shit down. I swear to God.
So
That wooden structure.
what am I?
Yes.
Yeah, that. What I'm most excited for in Rubia is trying not to close out, but to keep following the dozens of loose ends that we have right now, because we did end off on a crazy note, which is so much fun. But I can't wait to experience more directly related to the Karai, because hearing everything from Chris's campaign that he participated in, and then knowing what I know about what I've been through, I think having that like that renewed kind of reunion of me, going back to just fighting off the invaders. I think that's what I'm most excited for, is just more Karai interaction.
Oh,
Because
you're gonna meet
I'm a
him
big, oh yeah, I know, I'm a big
with the
boy now
subtlety of
though.
a battery ring.
I'm gonna meet a spiked club to my face.
Oh man,
That's what I'm
maybe
most excited for.
yeah. I'm actually not gonna spoil how I'm gonna very politely introduce myself to you guys.
That's okay. That's okay. You're not gonna see me coming.
Oh,
There's a
you're
reason why
definitely
they.
gonna see me coming.
No, there's a reason why they're, in Nam, they always said they were in the trees. I am the trees.
I am the trees.
I am the
Bars.
There
trees.
are any left.
All right. Actually,
All
also
right.
before we close out, I keep thinking of banger questions. What is your favorite running joke from either campaign? And I want to hear both of you.
Well, it was insight checks on Wong. It was, and I think that is probably my favorite joke ever. Or now it's probably Avi and Zaza.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck is Amy and Zaza?
You gotta ask Mel.
All right, all right. Um, good running joke. Oh, it's whenever we go into propaganda mode or indoctrinated mode. It's like when we as players all acknowledge, oh, this is so fucked up. Back into character. Oh man. Yeah, those
Rats.
filthy doggone rat Rubians.
Oh, I gotta say my
Like that
favorite one.
it's just the best thing.
Oh, out of both campaigns, I think Sparrows, just because it's longer running, my favorite joke, and I love it because Adrian always says it. There's a phase 2.
Yes.
That is my favorite all-time joke. It got to the point where he's like, the lore has a phase 2. The map
The lore had a
map has
phase
a
too.
phase 2.
The map. Vito makes 2 maps for the same situation.
Adrian, you want to
Dude,
explain the map phase 2 incident?
Yeah, man. Well, there's multiple. We can start with Sloth, where we were fighting on a bunch of islands in basically this dream world where there's bridges between the islands, and we get like 90% of the way with this fight. We're about to win, and just everything goes south because islands start exploding, bridges start breaking, we are falling in the void. Next one, we are fighting in the capital of Rai City, the biggest city in Yumagawa. And I get tossed through a building, and the entire building explodes on the map, and there is fire everywhere. And I go, oh my god. Like, I thought it was gonna be a cool roleplay thing. Whoa, theater of the mind. No, but I just see Owlbear shut down a loading fucking buffering screen, and then the building's gone. There is
Actually,
a
no. I used
hut with
the
debris.
roofs as icons, so I just deleted the
Oh
roof
yes, the
icon.
roofs.
So it was
The roof
immediate.
just deletes and it's gone. So cool, so cool. And also like
awesome.
the way Vito builds internal layouts is so sick. With
Yeah,
like layered
dude.
maps, right?
I have no idea how he does that, but that's awesome.
He has too much time in his hands. What can I
I don't know. He doesn't though. I don't know. How does he do this?
I'm making him
Like,
at
oh
night.
my god.
I'm making him that fucker, I know he's making them at night.
Oh.
I didn't get to answer. Just gonna spin back though to what I look forward for in Rubia. Honestly, I'd be interested in starting off in maybe Yumegawa for the next one. Maybe knowing like to get to know the homeland better before we set out to Rubia. Might
Know what
be
you're fighting for?
know what we're fighting for, maybe experience some of the casual indoctrination. Like just
Yeah.
Mm.
I just kind of want to know what it's like to be a person coming from Yumegawa and then seeing the Rubians and then just so that difference is just there from the start, just like, like what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. Because I mean, we know both sides, and Ruby was alien to us too. And now that you know Ruby is so much, going back it's really like the soldier experience too.
Funny enough, yeah, Yumegawa is probably more alien to me than Rubia by now.
Yeah, you probably spent so much time there too.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's a great idea.
I think so. I like that a lot, actually. All right. So, one last thing. If your characters had to have a conversation, what is the first thing you would say to each other?
The first thing coming his way is hands.
I knew they couldn't speak.
Just that
Yeah,
fucking
they wouldn't
Wolfenstein
really
meme.
be.
I think in the context of meeting, like on a street in Yumagawa or something, I think I would probably. I think the
I just
conversation
think you'd be
would be
pretty
short.
polite.
I think would you be
If
polite?
I'd be pretty polite. Anyone who, I mean, if this is pre-time skip, of course,
Yeah.
like anyone who I see as a citizen or part of our culture is a person to me, like a decent person. Um, it's not even like a where you're born thing. It's what culture do you embrace? So
Yeah.
that's what made my character like not human. Like that made him human, you know what I mean? What makes him terrible is the fact that obviously he has that distinction.
Like lack of empathy kind of thing.
Like a switch basically. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
it's not
A
it's not
switch.
Yumegawan
Veto.
or Kura.
A switch. What a
But
turn.
at the same time, like the sanity of my character is obviously like not there no matter how much he presents it. Like when he doesn't kill people, when he doesn't like do like horrible things for a while, there are signs that he's getting agitated, you know what I mean? There's like this is at the end of the day a pretty evil person.
I
But
think
yeah,
that's a good juxtaposition.
if our characters met on the street and you didn't look like a Rubian, like clothing wise and all that, I would have been like, oh, it was good.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Probably would have given you a tuppence, like a little cool
Yeah.
coin.
I think I'd be the same way. It's just Rafi in public was always looking over his shoulder. He never. I think my whole party never really traveled in the open, at least with our faces out, just because we were wanted. In Rubia, definitely hands, right? But I
Yeah.
do want to just touch on one point before we close out is what you said about there being like that lack of empathy and being a soldier. I think it's cool that having me and you having this conversation talking about the different experiences we've had in the combat with Rubia, I know what I'm fighting for because I have my home and then I have that motivation of, defense here. And then you have that kind of indoctrination sense of it of, I'm just kind of here to kill. I'm just kind of here to do my
Not
job.
even that. It's we kill because we have this for what we're told we're fighting for.
Yeah.
And what that is like fantastical to us. Like, oh my God, that's why would anyone not
Yeah.
want this? We are
Yeah.
doing them a favor by wiping them clean of their savage ways. Like
Yeah.
that's how deep the indoctrination goes.
I
Yeah.
think that trip to Yumagawa would be pretty enlightening to you too.
Oh, no, the reboot's gonna start there. The
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
characters are already on their way to you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry. We'll meet. We'll meet for sure.
I
It's
hope
gonna
it's
May
be
the
fun.
epic.
best. Yeah. May the best win.
Hopefully you guys, honestly, for the fate of
Oh
Rubia.
man, I don't plan on losing. And to make it into, I
Oh.
hope you don't either.
Oh,
We'll see what
Oh, of course
happens.
not. Of
Adrian, I
course
hope
not.
you've never seen Invincible.
Big ass beat down coming up.
Oh shit.
My mic. It's all right. Come back to me.
Oh.
It is.
Ah.
We're
So
hyped already.
that's
It's
how
over.
Slick dies.
Yeah, that's
That's
definitely
like-
Slick's gone. Slick is gone.
You ever seen that scene in Avengers 1 with Loki?
With
Puny Rubian.
Ah.
I have an army. We have a Reuben.
We have a Ruben. Dude, I just am so excited for his intro.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm more excited for Ruben's intro than my intro.
No offense, it's kind of cold. Ruben's intro is not like anything Adrian's seen before. Yours
we're
is.
not gonna spoil it. Yeah, mine's it's gonna be there, but I think the the fact that our characters' approaches mesh so well is gonna kind of cause a lot of issues for you guys morally. Because the fun thing about the Kurai is that we didn't have to worry about bystanders.
Yeah.
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 If we're approaching and you have to pick which one of us you deal with, there's gonna be consequences. So that's gonna be so
No,
fun. I'm so
call me
excited for this.
they call me Forrest Gojo, so you know,
Yeah,
there's
we
a
got
certain
Forrest
statistic
Sukuna,
that I
that's a
take.
problem.
All right,
Yeah.
guys, let's do this. Power scaling. Forrest Gojo versus Japanese Batman. What's going on?
With prep time?
It's a low to mid diff fight.
With prep time. Actually, no, he doesn't have prep time against Forrest Gojo. He just has prep time against most people.
I think there'll be an ample amount of prep for either of us. I think we're gonna be pretty beefy.
I think so.
Oh
Well,
boy, this is gonna be so fun.
it's gonna be
Yes,
good.
it will.
So yeah, hopefully, we'll see if you and I can run a session with Ruben and Allie tomorrow for a reboot of Rubia. I'll try and prep some stuff. And then Adrian. Next week. We hit
Next
the
week,
ground
indeed.
running. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we do.
Oh yeah, baby.
Just okay, since we kind of already know that there's gonna be a crossover, should I be ready for next week too, or no?
No, not next week.
Okay. Just because if we're gonna do the crossover, my scheduling is gonna be pretty tough after I go to Chile, but
Don't
the
worry.
time zones won't be different.
Don't worry. We'll figure it out for you. Normally we run at nights anyway. We make them at
I've
night.
still got plot points to solve, so
Okay, good. I'm excited to be a boss fight. There's gonna be a speech that Vito wrote that definitely isn't ripped off from somewhere. Uh, uh, it's gonna be exciting, boys.
It's gonna be good.
All right, let's end the stream here, maybe, and
All
then
right,
talk
Adrian,
about
you
other
want to
stuff.
close us since you opened us?
cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for whoever's watching this. Probably us again, watching it back and clipping it. But thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Tavern Talk. I'm Adrian.
I'm Vito.
Vito.
I'm Chris.
And once again, we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Don't be smoking too much Avian Zaza, boys and girls.